May 16th, 2020, middle of the epidemic. Uh, Recording this for a couple reasons. One, kind of an update, something to look back on in history and kind of say, wow, that's what they were going through. Uh, Two, just to kind of unload a little bit of stuff that in many ways I just can't unload anywhere. I can't post on social media like Facebook and Twitter and other stuff because people react poorly. Uh, can't post on my YouTube video channels because it's not appropriate for them. So this will go on my private channel that nobody really watches. Um, and just to kind of update, we're in the middle of the coronavirus epidemic here in the United States. We've had um, like 1.5 million people now being diagnosed infected. Deaths are over 90,000 within the last 2 months. Um, we are just at a status here in this country where uh, people seem to be determined to let their politics, to let their uh, extreme views, to let their perceived worldviews determine how they react to everything and not let actual reality determine. And it's all spectrums of the political spectrum. Um, you've got what's really sad is the extreme right um, seems to be getting sucked in. There's reports that they're getting fed false stories by China and Russia. Frankly, I believe that with how much stupidity is going on. Um, I've had to pretty much leave Facebook. I still have a page up, but I basically don't post and haven't in almost a week now because it is so overwhelmed by people propagating false stories and believing it because they want to believe it. Uh, and if you actually try to bring in a dose of reality, oh, you're not welcome. I've got some nasty messages from people who I thought were friends. Frankly, got hurt really bad by a number of people that I know that I thought were friends, and just um, very, very poor. Uh, there are such ridiculous stories going around. Um, People claiming that this is an excuse for the Antichrist to make everybody take the mark of the beast. Reports that Bill Gates is the Antichrist, the owner of Microsoft, and he's using this to push a vaccine that's going to have a chip in it. That doesn't work that way. It's impossible. The Dr. Fauci, the lead guy, is part of a cabal to take over the world through this. That it's an attempt to overthrow the election. That the Democrats want to eliminate the election, which actually right now is more likely with our current president being the megalomaniac that he is. Uh, but just silly stuff. And they're posting all sorts of fringe theories and everything as if they're fact and ignoring facts. There's still a lot of people that refuse to believe that this is real or serious. 90,000 people dead. It's still not a thing, nothing worse than the flu. 90,000 people in 2 months is more than the worst flu since 1918. But they don't believe that. I've had at least two friends that have died from it, college friends. One actually before we even really knew what coronavirus was. He was a missionary in Mexico, and every symptom that he had points to this. My son has had coworkers that were hospitalized, managed to pull through. We had a couple old friends in Florida that have had it. So, we're definitely touched. Thankfully, nobody close to us, I can say. But, it's a matter of time. And they have just gone through in the last week, and the country is reopening. The number of cases is dropping a little bit. We've gone from 2,000 people dying a day to 1,500. So it has dropped a little. I believe the number of people getting diagnosed was like 10,000. And I think now we're down to 8,000 or something like that. Actually, thinking about the numbers are probably much higher than that. But, so we've seen a little drop. Most of that is because New York, where it is the worst, is seeing it under control. The rest of the country is actually starting to see it rise. Where I live here in Crane, Missouri, a town of 1,400, there are a lot of people who insist it's not here. You go to the store and there's no masks. Uh, People are not using hand sanitizer. They're not using wipes. They're not keeping distance. They're not following directions because, yeah, it doesn't exist. It's not real. It's nothing for me to worry about. And with us starting to reopen up everything, I am terrified this is going to get much worse, especially in these rural areas where they think it's not an issue. Um, and I think a lot of them don't have any clue how bad it is because there's still not testing going on the way it should be. If you want to get tested, you have to be pretty confident you're exposed, find a place that'll test you, and you're going to have to pay money. Regardless of what our president says about, oh, there's free testing available for everybody. Yeah, bullcrap. No, it's not. Because I know people that need to be tested and haven't been. There are people that are dying at home, dying in nursing homes and stuff that have never been tested and probably dying from it. The numbers surely are actually much, much worse than what we actually know. And people are out there charging around. Uh, I'm into theme parks to do stuff like that, and our local one is Silver Dollar City. And there was a post on social media shortly before I quit most of it that basically said, "Hey, if they get the park reopened, are you afraid? Are you worried? Are you concerned at all?" And the number of people responding to that saying, "Nope, not going to take any protection, no precautions needed. I haven't seen it or been exposed to it, so I don't need to worry." It's ridiculous. The number of people who don't seem to be concerned. Anytime they open up a beach or a bar or something, people are just flooding out there close together. And then you have some that are saying, oh no, they're really not that close. And then you get real video of it. And yes, they are. This is going to be something that history is going to look back on at how incredibly foolish the American people are. How incredibly gullible to myths and fairy tales. And how many people are going to have to die. I said 90,000 already. The best terms that they were offering us a month and a half ago was if we're lucky, we may get 60 to 70,000. Right now, just with the way we're acting and the way people refuse to be cautious, we're probably going to have 250,000. I wouldn't be surprised if it even goes higher than that. And that's just me throwing out random numbers, but in 2 months when we're already there, they're saying, oh, when the second wave hits in August, it's not going to wait till August because we're not done with the first wave yet. And now people are going out, getting themselves exposed even more. And I'm at higher risk for it because I had cancer years ago. My immune system is weak because the way they had to treat the cancer, it really killed my immune system. And it's back, but I still am more susceptible to things. I'm also overweight, partially because sitting at home, partially because I have a heart condition. Hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, which is the muscle in the middle of my heart is enlarged. So all of those put me at a little bit higher risk that if I get this, I'm much more liable to be very sick, which is not something I or anybody around me want. My wife, in fact, just got home from California yesterday, flew out to see her mom and family, told me how ridiculous people were being out there. Not a trip necessarily I wanted her to make, but for multiple reasons was probably a good one to make. But now she's essentially having to be on separation, quarantine for a couple weeks. We're using the back of our church. She's kind of staying there, and then if she comes home, she'll take a shower here, and then while she's in the house taking a shower, I'm actually sitting out in my garage with these little critters. So I have a little bit of entertainment while I'm doing this, and that way we can maintain the distance until we know she hasn't been infected, or at least is past any contagious stage. But just concerned, worried. We're pastoring a church right now, and we reopened last Sunday morning. I will not reopen for Sunday evening or for Wednesday evenings currently. I don't feel safe with that. Even Sunday morning, thankfully it's a small church in this regard. We had, what do we have? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We had 8 people, I think, Sunday morning. Which typically it's been 3 of us, me, my daughter, and then either my wife or my son. So we did have a few other people come up, and we've got hand sanitizer. We're doing short services. It's come in, get the service, head back out. Don't use the bathrooms. Don't hang around and talk. Don't talk a little bit. No physical contact, and trying to keep it safe for everybody while letting them feel like they can come to church. But there's people that are arguing that this is all about their civil rights, and how dare you infringe on my rights to gather together, and your rights to gather together don't infringe upon my right to live. And how dare you think your right to get together means that you can infect me? That we don't care about that. We're at a point in time in our society, and I blame the president partially because he's the epitome of this, but social media as well, where there is no regard for anybody else. There is no regard for how they feel, how they think, their health, their safety. It's all about me. We have become a very, very selfish society. We got one pulling on me here. Very self-centered. How dare you tell me I can't go where I want to go and do what I want to do and say what I want to say, and don't step on my rights. You can't tell me just because there's a quarantine. And I'm sitting here thinking, okay, so if we were in World War II and they were dropping bombs, is your right to gather in public with the lights on more important than saving lives because bombs are getting dropped? Just no concept, no caring. We have lost our ability to critically think and analyze facts. Most of what's getting shared around on the internet isn't actual news sources. And of course, most of our main news sources now, CNN, Fox, MSNBC, they're so biased. It's pitiful. Fox is a little more than a propaganda station anymore. So CNN. Fox for the right, CNN for the left. It's pitiful. So if you want to get news, you've got to go to other sources. AP, directly from AP, YouTube, or BBC. But much of it, and they're posting not just this. They're not even going to those, which at least they're a little more reliable. They're pulling out fake blogs, people that have no interest in verifying anything and just posting whatever they want. They're posting YouTube conspiracy theory videos and just ridiculous stuff and presenting it as fact. There's one that was just making its way around called Plandemic, that the woman was published in Science magazine, immediately retracted because what she had said was false. Her credentials are all fake. She has been arrested for stealing from the college she worked at, fired from it. Her claim was that, well, they just didn't like what she said. No, the truth was it was all fake, and she was a thief, and completely discredited. The woman has no credibility at all, and yet there's bunches of Christians and others pushing this because it pushes the agenda that they want to believe in. Not that it's real, because it's not. It's completely fake. And the video's been pulled down from every place it's been posted because it's completely fake. And yet people are going, but it's part of the conspiracy. Just stupid. Stupid. We're at a stage where it seems like people are just determined to be as stupid about everything as they can. It's driving me nuts. It's hurting. We're going to have a lot of people die. A lot of people die before some of them will step into reality. And the worst part for me is a lot of the worst propagators are Christians. People who should be caring about others aren't. People who should be following Christ are worshiping a president and his idiot teachings about injecting yourself with cleansers. Thankfully, I haven't heard any reports of that. But he just gets up and says the most idiotic things, attacks anybody who disagrees with him vehemently, rudely, unpresidentially, and they eat it up. And it's terrifying that the ones that should be the most sacrificial, the most loving, the most careful, the most cautious, have none of it. Have absolutely none of it. People I love and respect are buying into the most ridiculous, stupid garbage because that's what the people around them are doing. I don't know what our future is. I don't. This epidemic at the very beginning revealed some of the best in people, but now the worst in people is starting to win out. I pray it reverses. God have mercy upon us. Forgive us, for we know not what we're doing. And yet, in too many cases, I'm afraid we do know what we're doing, and that doesn't make any difference. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know what it holds for us here. I don't know what it holds for the United States. I don't know what it holds for the world. It'll be interesting to look back upon this in a year. Hopefully we have a vaccine by then. There's a lot of people thinking we're going to have a vaccine in a month. It's not going to be a month. Assuming we can get a vaccine, it's probably a year away. There's still so much we still don't know about this. How susceptible it is to temperatures, whether people who've had it can get it again, or whether they're immune for a while. It's just too much unknown, and people are acting like it's over. And I don't know that we've even really begun. Pray for us. If you look back on this from the future, well, now you got a little bit of a record of, oh my goodness. We'll get through it. We will get through it. I don't know if we'll be better for it, but we'll get through. Anyways, thanks for listening to my rambling. Like I just had to get some of it off my shoulders. And then that way I can look back, like I said, in a year or two and go, see, I told you so.